so we're going to look at stretching exercises for people with CMT. It's important that if you have any contractures or any specific problems or injury that you see a physical therapist first. And with these exercises, they're best done when your muscles are warm, so either after exercise or after a warm bath or shower. You're aiming for a stretching feeling, not pain, and you need to avoid any bouncing, ballistic movements. It's much better to keep everything slow, controlled and sustained. When doing calf stretches, I think it's important to have an idea of which muscles you're stretching so that you can make sure that you're targeting all of them, or at least most of them, appropriately. So, if you look at the skeleton here, I've got it from the back. Your calf is made up of two main muscles, your gastrocnemius and your soleus. And your gastrocnemius starts just above your knee here, and then it comes down the back of your leg and turns into your Achilles tendon, which attaches into your heel. And then soleus, alternatively, attaches here, just below the knee, and then it comes slightly deeper to gastrocnemius, down the back of your leg, again into your Achilles tendon, into your heel. So, to make sure that we target both of these, I would recommend doing stretches with your knee straight and with your knee bent, just to make sure that you're catching both of them. And then what we can also do is roll a towel up and stick it underneath your toes, and that way you can get some of the deeper muscles inside the foot and to stretch through the toes as well. So you can make sure you're catching your tibialis posterior, which is also a really important muscle to stretch in CMT. But that one lies down the inside here and goes into the arch of your foot. So as I said, to stretch your gastrocnemius, we're going to be looking at doing a stretch that keeps your knees straight. And one of the ones I like doing for this is to lean against a wall and straighten your foot out back behind you and push your heel down into the floor with your knees straight. To make it a bit more of a stretch, you can loop your foot over the back and push down into it a little bit further. However, you're losing some stability when you do that, so you might find that you're safer keeping your foot in front of you here for stability, and then you can lean right into it. So for a soleus stretch, we're looking at keeping your knee bent, and for this you can also use a wall to hold on to for support. And what you're doing with this one is you can start off initially with your toes touching the wall like this, and then bring your knee towards the wall and see if you can bring your knee touching the wall without your heel coming off the floor. Alright? And then this one is a really handy one because you can actually measure how far away from the wall you can get with your toes and still reach your knee to the wall. And you can compare it both sides, so you can see which one might need more work, and you can see if you've made any improvements. So you can measure it like this, and it'll just be the distance here between my toes and the wall. In sitting, what you can do is to bring your foot back behind you and then try and push down through your knees so you get your heel to touch the floor. Another important muscle group to stretch is your hip flexors, especially in CMT, and particularly if you've got drop foot, because what you find is that whereas normally you might come through and clear your foot and land on your heel, most people with CMT, rather than coming through and getting this heel strike, what they'll do instead is they'll lift up from the hip and step forward instead. So you end up stepping over rather than stepping through. So to stretch these muscles, what we can do is to get either a pillow, cushion, rug or something underneath your knees so you're not going to hurt it. I'd hold on to a wall as well if you can, and just bring your other leg forward. And then all you want to do then is just to lean in and stretch through that way. And you should be able to feel it just on the front of your hip and thigh by here. Another muscle group that's easy to stretch in sitting are your hamstrings, and also very important because they are a bit prone to getting tight as well. So what you do with this one is just to straighten your leg out in front of you and then bend forwards and see if you can try and touch your toes. Now you want to keep your knee as straight as you can, so if you can't get all the way down to your toes, then it's not the end of the world, don't panic about it. And then what you can do then is easily change the angle and then reach down so that you're either targeting the outside here, or if you bring it over this way and lean down, you're targeting the inside of your leg here. stretches, you're looking at holding them from anywhere between 20 seconds to a minute, and then repeating them 2 or 3 times each, depending. But again, for a more specific program, you want to see a physical therapist. And also, as I said before, you're looking at doing these ones after exercise, as they're all static stretches. If you struggle with these exercises, or if they just aren't appropriate for you, then it's always best to speak to your physical therapist. These exercises are meant as a guide, and they don't replace an individualised rehab program. But I hope they've helped. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.